Character counts.
Yes, it
Talk
does.
about an A player's character and working with the team.
You know, first of all, it's integrity. And, you know, as you're working with teams, do what you say you're going to do. And I think this is really interesting because occasionally I'll run across a high performer, good person, good integrity, right? Hey, they're playing a little rough with the team. And my first question is, well, what do the other team members do? And in a weaker corporate culture, they'll give excuses for why the others aren't performing. But if you've earned the right? So first of all, integrity, and I find this lacking a lot, is people who follow through on promises and commitments. And again, I find, and when I talk to CEOs, that this is actually lacking. And the challenge I give the CEOs is look for a week and look who makes commitments and look who actually follows up on it. And they come back to me after a week and they say, you know, wow, I didn't realize how people aren't congruent and aren't doing what they said they will. So that's first of all, and I think that's first and foremost, is if you say you're going to do it with integrity, which means we actually do what we say we're going to do. So that's a key piece. Acting with the team now, and I think this is one of the biggest challenges, is actually holding other people accountable. I did a radio interview recently and they said, well, you know, what's your big tip? I said, holding others accountable. What's your biggest CEO skill? Holding others accountable. And the radio line went dead for a second. But really, that is a trick, and that requires a lot of emotional intelligence. And the truly transformational leaders are pulling that out of others because of who they are, and we don't want to let them down. You know, I tell people, if you want to become a better leader, the quickest way there is to upgrade your team. Yeah.
And that's where you may have to let some people go.
Yes. You know, and I've seen plenty of good leaders who bang their head against the wall, you know, trying to coax it out of people who just don't fundamentally want it. And that gets hard. A players are more accountable. And what I find is then when the tempo picks up, when the results start flowing, when that integrity, when meeting promises and commitments happen, the others follow. And what sometimes happens was if they can't meet their own commitments, these people kind of quietly leave. And from an HR perspective, that's actually to our benefit as a company. It's best when people leave on their own accord. And it's the fairest for all involved. And by the way, I do want to make this point. Most of those B's and C's who leave A-player companies, when you find them, you know, a year or two later, they are happier. They are typically in a place where they're actually thriving as an A-player. And they'll thank you for the experience, maybe indirectly, that you gave them at your company, because it's eminently fair.
So you can be a B and C player at one company and go be an A at another?
And exactly, and that's why I say everybody has the right to be an A player somewhere. But it's got to be the right role. You know, during the Great Recession, you had a lot of people who got laid off, who maybe took a bigger job, talked their employer into hiring them, but the job was too big for them. It was beyond their capabilities. They were miserable, they were underperforming. When they got appropriately placed back where they could perform as an A, everything got right again. Now again, it might have been at lower compensation. You know, you just got to realize what kind of pressure you're willing to put on yourself. And again, if you're great and you're performing at those levels, you know, I never knew what the Peter Principle was till about 5 years ago, but it's, you know, it's reaching your natural level where you can perform. And what's beautiful is, you know, these folks in an A-player culture leave the culture, they go find, and I think they do some self-reflection, they find out where they can be an A. And when you meet them at the park or whatever, it's typically a very nice situation as opposed to, hey, you know, we had to let you go and all this. Like, hey, I found where I could be happy. I am loving what I'm doing. I'm happier. By the way, thank you for the experience.